Hi everybody, it is Monday, 9/17. Today is your review. Your quiz is Wednesday. Quiz Wednesday. So make sure you watch this whole video, make sure you know what you do, and here we go. All right, so number one, we're solving the equation, trying to get x by itself. So there is some simplifying to be done. Notice the left side has a lot of things going on, and so does the right side. So we have some distributing to do on both sides. So we're taking care of that right off the bat. So we have 5x minus 10 plus 2x. If you distribute 7, you get 7x plus 28 minus 38. That is your first step. Notice the left side has 3 terms and the right side has 3 terms. That's too many. So that means some things can be combined. So we're going to combine the x's on this side. 5x and 2x is 7x. And on this side, we're combining 28 and negative 38. And that should give you a negative 10. Oh, look at this. Do you notice that the left side is equal to the right side? So this should be infinitely many solutions because it's identical to the other side. But maybe you didn't catch that. So maybe you're subtracting 7x, you're like, negative 10 equals negative 10. They're still equal. So at any time that you notice the left side equals the right side, you can stop. Look at the remaining statement. If it's true, like this is true, if you add a 10 to each side, that's true. Then you got 0 equals 0. Everything's true. It doesn't matter what you do. The left side will equal to the right side. So your answer is infinitely many solutions. It means any x would work in this problem. So I'm going to box this problem off. Problem number 1, done. If you didn't understand that, rewind it, play it again. So number 2, there's a couple ways to do this problem, but we're just going to use our calculator. We're trying to solve for b, trying to get b by itself. So how would you get rid of 3a's? Subtract 3a's. You are right. So bring down the b over 3 because this cancels. And on your calculator, we're going to punch in parentheses 5 divided by 12 minus parenthesis 3 divided by 8. Just like that. Press equals and you get this ugly decimal. So we're going to press math right here. Math is right there. Math. Enter. Enter. And you get 1 over 24. That's not your final answer because you still have b divided by 3. So how do you get rid of a division of 3? Well, to get rid of a division of 3, you have to multiply both sides by 3. So on this side, the 3's cancel. But on this side, so it's 1 over 24 times 3. So I already got the 124 on my calculator. So just put times 3. And you get 1/8. So the other way to do this answer, you can shut your eyes, shut your ears right now if you don't want to listen to another way, is you can get rid of all the fractions right from the start by multiplying something by the LCD. So if you look at the 3 denominators, 8, 3, and 24, the least common denominator of those 3 numbers is a number that they all go into, which is 24. These are all factors of 24. So if I multiplied each side by 24, which, by the way, is really 24 over 1. That's why the 24 is in the upper left, but I don't need the 1. Then what you do is you cancel. How many times is 8 going to 24? And it's 3. So you have 3 times 3. Multiply these 2 numbers. You get 9. No fraction. Second term, you can say, how many times is 3 going to 24? It's 8. So you get 8b. In the third term, how many times is 12 going to 24? It's 2. 2 times 5 is 10. So now we have 3 terms without fractions, and then we don't need a calculator to solve this. So you can go ahead and solve for b from here, and b is 1/8. This is just a second way of doing it. If you did not follow that at all, just do it with your calculator the way we did it first. But it's just 2 ways to do the same problem. All right, next problem. I'm going to go ahead and rope this off. We are going to distribute 0.6. We are distributing 0.6, so I'm going to rewrite y plus 0.2. 0.6 times y is 0.6y plus 0.6 times 3 is 1.8. First step. Any questions? Now, this is a tricky thing for most people. I want everyone to put a 1 in front of the y right now, because that's what y is. It's 1y. Are the y's on the same side? No. So we have to get the y's on the same side before we do anything else. This one's smaller, so I'm going to subtract 0.6y from both sides. So on the right side, it's gone. Now, what is 1 minus 0.6? It is 0.4y plus 0.2 equals 1.8. Now that y is on the left-hand side, now we can start solving for y. Subtract 0.2, lining up your decimals. I'm going to come over here. So you have 0.4y equals, these decimals are lined up, so it's 8 minus 2 is 6, so that's 1.6. You can use your calculator if you need to. To get rid of y, to get y by itself, you're going to divide by 0.4. Punch this in your calculator, and you should get 4. Now, the next problem. See those absolute value bars? How many answers do you have if you have absolute values? 2 answers? Yes, there's 2 answers. So you're going to write the negative equation on this side and the positive equation on this side with an or between them. So when I say positive, I mean equals 7, or I mean equals negative 7. So you have a positive and you have a negative. It equals 7 or it equals negative 7. What equals 7 and what equals negative 7? This expression in the bars. So that negative 3x4 comes here and here. So subtract 4. Divide by negative 3, and x equals negative 1. It's one of your answers. The other one, subtract 4. Divide by negative 3, and x equals positive 11 thirds. So you have 2 answers. You do not have to graph it because it's not an inequality, but there are 2 answers every time you see an absolute value. So number 5, this is a problem like number 4. It's got absolute values. You're supposed to have 2 answers, but before you can put into negative and positive, you have to isolate the absolute value. Isolate the absolute value bars first. Make sure you isolate the absolute value bars first. So to do that, we're going to subtract 26. Now when I did that, what do you know about this? Can absolute value bars ever equal a negative? The answer to that is no. So there is no solution in this problem. So make a little star here. Can absolute value bars can't equal a negative? Because the definition of absolute value bars is distance from 0 to a number. You can't have a negative distance. So no answer for that one, and we're not even going to do number 6. Forget it. Like, put a big X there. Forget it. I'm not testing you on that. All right. We're now down to inequalities. Remember, with inequalities, not only do you have to find your answer, but you have to write the solution set in interval notation and graph it. I suggest graphing it first, then interval notation. So here we go. We're solving for x. So this problem actually resembles a problem that we did on our first test, where you have a subtraction in front of parentheses. So maybe you don't see this, but do you know that the definition of subtraction is the same as adding its opposite? So we can like slide it up, which means we are going to distribute that opposite sign through. So we are doing that first. We're not distributing 2x, we're distributing the negative sign. So it's 2x. The opposite of 5 is negative 5, and the opposite of 4x is negative 4x. So they were both positive. Now they're both negative because we distributed a negative. Now on the left-hand side, we have 3 terms. That's too many. So which ones can we combine? These 2. Add those together, And you should get negative 2x minus 5 is less than 3x minus 1. Are the x's on the same side? No. Get the x's on the same side. So even though usually I would add a 2x, in this case, because it's an inequality, I like my x's on the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 3x to this side. Cancel these. This is negative 5x minus 5 is less than negative 1. Okay, so now we're solving for x. So how do you get rid of subtraction of 5? Add 5. I got to come up here. I'm out of room. So we have negative 5x. Can you see that negative? Is less than 4. So to get rid of this negative, we have to divide by negative 5. What happens in an inequality? If you divide by a negative, you are right. We're going to flip it to greater than. So our answer is x is greater than negative 4/5. Circle this or box this. That's one answer. Then we have to graph this. Now, negative 1 is right here and 0 is right here. Negative 4/5 is between these two numbers. If you're not quite sure where to go, you can put this in the fifths. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5 is 1. So negative 4/5, 1, 2, 3, 4 is about right here. Put an open circle. And you're shading it. I'm going to do it with red. And you're going to shade it to the right. So that's the graph. Interval notation would be parenthesis, negative 4/5 to positive infinity because you read it left to right. So all three of these are your answers. All three of these. I'll be looking for all three of those on the test. All right, so I'm going to box this off, make sure we don't run into this in the next problems. Okay, next problem, 8. This one is called an intersection. That's because it's written in 3 sections. Whenever you have 3 sections, you want the negative on the left and the positive on the right. Don't get caught up with negatives right now because when you're done, it should look like this. Sorry. When you're done, it should be a negative less than x is less than a positive. That's what it should look like when you're done. So this is called a 3-section problem, which means when you graph it, it's going to be an in-between graph. Okay? So to get there, I would like you to divide this into 3 sections. At least see the 3 sections, like left, middle, right. Your job at the end is to have x in the middle. See right there? X should be in the middle of a positive and a negative. So to get x by itself, we got to get rid of 8 and 5. First, we're going to get rid of 8. So when you subtract 8, you're subtracting it from all 3 sides. So this gives you negative 10 less than or equal to 5x less than negative 9. How do you get rid of the 5? You divide by 5. So your answer is negative 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to negative 9/5. Now usually you have a negative on the side and a positive on the side. It just needs to be the smaller number on the left, the larger number on the right. And actually negative 9/5 is larger than negative 2, so this is okay to graph. They are so close together. Watch. Here's negative 2. Here's negative 1. So negative 9/5 is really negative 1.8 if you punch it in your calculator. And that's like right here. So you have negative 1.8, which is really close to negative 2, but then you have an open circle on negative 2. Wait, I'm backwards. Sorry, let me redo this. This is the equal. This is the, oh, there's no equal here. Sorry, guys, there's no equal there. I got to wipe that out. Let me see here. There's no equal here, so let me get rid of this. Okay. So this, let me graph this again. So you have negative 2 closed. Here's negative 1. Here's negative 1.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, about right there. So you're about right there. You just get close to negative 2. And it's everything in between. It's a really weird graph. It's really close together. So this is your graph. This is your answer. And now interval notation. I'm going to get rid of this graph. It's in my way. Let me get rid of this. Interval notation is going to be bracket I'll put it right above it. -2 to -9/5 parentheses. So these are both your answers too. I would rewind that if you didn't and understand it. Rewind it, play it again until you get it. Okay, number 9, we have an OR. That means we have two separate inequalities. OR means that your graphs are going to go like this. Like one's going to go this way and one's going to come this way. They're going to go away from each other. So, okay, there's a 1 in front of this. Put a 1 right in front of x. How do you get rid of a -1? Divide by -1. So we are going to flip. We're flipping. So this is x is greater than -7. That's one of your answers. And the other one, we're subtracting 1 and dividing by 3. So x is less than -7. Circle that. So we have two answers with an OR between them. So your graph, your graph. So the first one, did I do this right? This one says greater than -7, which is that way. The other one says less than -7, which is this way. So basically it's everything except -7. So when I say write the answer in interval notation, you write it left to right. So if you're coming from the left is -infinity. The right is positive infinity. So you're going to go -infinity to -7, parentheses, parentheses. In union with, this means OR. -7 to infinity. And that's how you write it. So all three of these are your answer. And the last one, we're going to change this word and to or because I'm not going to give you any trick problems on the test. I'm going to make sure I look at the test. And if there's a trick problem like this, I'll change it. But this is another or just like the problem. So let's do a line and solve for x. So how to get rid of 5. 5 is positive, so you should be subtracting it. What number is in front of x right now? A 1. So how do we get rid of that -1? Hopefully you're saying divide by -1, which means we're going to flip this to greater than. And you get x is greater than -2. Second side, we're going to subtract 3. Divide by 2, and x is greater than or equal to 5. So when you graph this, I'm going to go by 2's. So x is greater than -2. Is this right? Did I flip this? Oh, wait. I didn't flip it. Sorry, guys. Like, this is greater than. This was supposed to be less than. I didn't flip it. You guys see it was greater than? I needed to flip it to less than. My fault. This was less than. So less than -2. I knew something was wrong. Okay, there's that. This one's greater than or equal to 5. So that's between 4 and 6. Going this way. And how do you write interval notation for that? From the left, remember it's -infinity. From the right, it's going to positive infinity. So you're going to go -infinity to -2, parentheses, parentheses. Union with means or. Bracket, because it's closed, 5 to infinity, parentheses. So all of this is your answer. Okay, that's page 1. Yay, page 1's done. Page 2. Page 2. I'm going to get a different piece of paper because my pen went through. So I'm going to get a different piece of paper. Okay, page 2. Here we go. Okay, inequalities. How many sets of answers do you have if you have an inequality? Let me get this out of the way. How many sets of answers do you have if you have inequality? Hopefully you're saying 2. So it's 2 separate inequalities. If it's a greater than, let's just kind of focus in here. If it's a greater than, it's going to be a union with an or. If it's less than, it's an intersection and it's an in-between. So you're going to write it in 3 sections. Negative, x, positive. You write it in 3 parts if you have a less than because it's going towards 0. But if you're going away from 0, you want 2 separate inequalities. So we're going to have the negative one on this side and the positive one on this side with an or between it. So when I say positive, I mean greater than or equal to 10. Now, when you switch to negative, not only are you switching to negative 10, but you're also switching the inequality. So let me write that. So right here, I switched inequality and changed to negative. You do this with inequalities and inequalities. So we got greater than or equal to 10 or less than or equal to negative 10. So we switch the inequality and the negative. Now what is greater than 10? That's this part that's inside the bars. 6 plus 4x. Right, 6 plus 4x over here as well. That part doesn't change. So just divide it up, do them separately. Let's start with the negative side. Subtract 6, divide by 4, and x is less than or equal to negative 4. Circle that. Or over here, subtract 6, 4x is greater than or equal to 4, divide by 4, and x is greater than or equal to 1. Circle that. Now we need a number line for this. Negative 4 is here. Negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. And 1 is here. So less than negative 4 does this. Greater than 1 does this. Less than or equal to negative 4. X is greater than or equal to 1. Interval notation would be negative infinity to negative 4 bracket. Union with bracket 1 to positive infinity. All three of those are your answer. These two and both of these, all of your answer. I'm going to do a line to separate that from my next problem because that took so much room up. Now this one is a less than sign, so we set it up differently. So because it's less than, it's an intersection or in between. We want the expression in between the negative, the expression, and the positive. So when I say expression, I mean the 4x minus 3 over 5. That's your expression in the bars. Positive 1, negative 1. And both inequalities should point to the negative. Now we're solving for x out of the middle. So how do I get rid of that division of 5? Hopefully you're saying multiply by 5, so we're multiplying everything by 5. So this left side is negative 5 is less than, the 5's cancel. 4x minus 3 is less than 5. How do we get x in the middle by itself? We have three sides here. We're going to add 3, add 3, add 3. Get this? And we got one more step to get 4 by the x by itself. So divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4, and you get negative 1/2 is less than x is less than 2. Graphing this. Open on 2, open on negative 1/2, it's shaded in between. Interval notation is negative 1/2 to 2. And I'm definitely going to divide that off because I'm way into that next problem. I did that kind of fast. Take a snapshot of that if you have to. Play it again if you have to. Print off the blank copy that I'm going to send home on Google Classroom and redo it. But you will have one of those. Those problems are like 8 points on the test, so be careful. Now, how do you find a slope? Well, first of all, if you're given an equation, how do you find a slope? You get it in slope y-intercept form if you can, right? If you're given an equation, try to get it in this form. It means solve for y. So how do you solve for y? Subtract x. Now, when I subtract x, what number is in front of x? It's very important to know this. It's not just x, it's a negative 1x. You need to know that. Because in the next step, you're going to divide everything by 4. So this is negative 1/4 x plus 7/4. So my slope is the number in front of x. That's my slope. That's the answer to 13. How do you find a slope given 2 points? The formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's negative 6 minus negative 2 over negative 1 minus 3. On the top, you have a double negative, so I'm going to make that a positive. That's a negative 4 over a negative 4. Answer 1. Positive 1. Positive 1. And this last one, maybe you're not sure what the slope is if you have y equals -3, but you could graph that on your calculator, y equals -3, and see what it looks like. It looks like this. Let's go down here. Y equals -3 means that you would go down 3 to here. That's what the graph looks like. This is y equals -3. Go down 3, draw a line. What's the slope of a horizontal line? 0? You're correct. So y equals -3 has a 0 slope. It has a 0 slope, so that's the answer. 0 slope. No work needed. Now, on this next portion, you're going to need to know maybe how to find a slope. Sometimes you need that, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're going to need to know this formula, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You need to know those two formulas. So on this first one, it says slope through 0, -3. So we're going to use this formula right here. So this is x1 and this is y1. So it's y minus 3 equals -9/10 because they gave us our slope, x minus 0. And we're going to distribute this. So -9/10x is -9/10x. -9/10 times 0 is 0. Now we have a double negative on this side. So on this side you have y plus 3 equals this. How do you get rid of the 3? Subtract 3 from the 0, and your answer is y equals -9/10x minus 3. So this is your answer. This is slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So until it's in this form, you're not done. Now, these 17 and 19 are trick problems. I mean, they're not trick, but there's no work needed on 17 and 19. So maybe draw out what 17 is telling you. You have this point, -3, 1. Okay, here's -3, 1. And it says the line is horizontal. So this is the horizontal line. What is the equation of that line? First of all, it doesn't cross through the x-axis at all. So x cannot be in this problem. It only crosses the y-axis at what number? At 1. There it is. It's crossing at 1. So your answer is y equals 1. That's all you have to do. Now let's do 19 right off the bat. This one says that it's a vertical line through -4, -6. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one's a vertical line through -4, 6. So it looks like this. So notice it doesn't touch the y-axis. So it cannot have a y in the equation. It can only have an x. What's the x-coordinate? It's -4. So this equation is x equals -4. So if you have a horizontal or vertical line, you don't have to do any work. But you have to know that horizontal goes with y and vertical goes with x. Make sure you know that. Now 18 and 19, there is some work to be done. So 18 and 19, they give you 2 points. So we're going to come up here, follow the slope formula, and then we're going to plug it into this, and then at the end, put it in this. So this one's like the 8-point problems. So first thing we'll do is find the slope. So it's -9 minus -8 over -6 minus -3. So we have double negatives on the top and the bottom. So the top is -1 and the bottom is -3, which is positive 1, 3, because 2 negatives make a positive. Then we have y. I'm going to choose this point right here, -3, -8. So I'm going to go y minus -8 equals the slope 1/3 times x minus -3. So we have double negatives, and I'm going to distribute this. So this is 1/3 x plus 1. 1/3 times 3, their reciprocals, is 1. On this side, we have y plus 8. All right, subtract 8. So y equals 1/3 x minus 7, and that's your answer. Redo it if you have to. So 20, same thing. We're going to find the slope. So the slope is 4 minus -5 over -3 minus 1. Double negative on the top becomes a 9 over -4. I know, ugly fractions. Let me double check that. 4 minus -5 is 9. -3 minus -1 is -4. Okay, this is it. This is our slope. Ugly slope. So which point do you guys like? I'm just going to use 1, -5. So we have y minus minus 5 equals negative 9/4 times x minus 1. So we're going to distribute negative 9/4. Two negatives make a positive 9/4. And then on this side, we have a double negative. So that's y plus 5. So to get rid of that 5, we're going to subtract 5 from 9/4. And we're going to get y equals negative 9/4 x. What's 9/4 minus 5? Let's do that on our calculator. So we have a positive 9/4. And we just subtracted 5 over. So it looks like that. Math, enta, negative 11/4. So once again, find the slope, get negative 9/4, and plug it in. Y1 slope, x1 distribute, subtract 5 over. Now in this next part, 21, talks about correlations. So basically, if your correlation value, R, is between 0.9 to 1, closer to 1 the better, you're going to say positive correlation. Positive, strong correlation. If your R is between negative 0.9 and negative 1, then you're going to say negative strong or strong negative. So it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. If it's 0.9 to 1 or negative 9 to negative 1, it's strong. And it's either positive or negative. Now I say if it's between like 0.7 to 0.89, negative or positive, you say moderate, then either positive or negative. And I always say if it's below like 0 to 0.69, I say is weak. Positive or negative, depending on what it is. So in this problem, think of one like it's $1. 0.04 is like 4 cents. That is really far away from 1. So you would say positive because it's positive, and it's weak because it's really far away from 1. 0.29 is like 29 cents. Is that close to $1? No, but it's positive, but it's weak. It's because it's far away from $1. Now 86 cents, I think of this as 86 cents. That's close to 1, but it's not in the nines. So I'd say it's not bad, it's positive. It's not bad, but it's not great. I would say it's moderate. It's not strong because it's not in the 0.9s. Now here's a 0.9, 0.97, but it's negative. So you're going to say negative. And then you're going to say strong because it's close to 1. This is like 38 cents, negative 38 cents. It's negative and it's weak. This is negative 2 cents. That's negative and weak. All right, let me quickly do this. The bell just rang and I want to get this problem done here. So we're going to go to our calculators. Are you ready? Go to stat right here. You see, stat, and then press enter and pull up your list. So I'm going to clear my list out by going up to list 1 and pressing clear, enter. Now I have nothing in my list. So we're going to enter these into our list 1 and these into our list 2. List 1 and list 2. So go ahead and do that. So we have 18, 24, 30, 40, 42, 48, 52. Okay, that's my list 1. Come on in. Calories. That's going to go in list 2. So go to list 2. We're going to type in our calories. Make sure you're typing them in correctly. 260, 280, 320, 380, 400, 440, and 475. Make sure your numbers are equal here. You should not have more than like one more in list 2 or list 1. They have to be the same. And make sure you double check. Oh, I made a mistake. Look at this one. See that one right there, that 40? I don't think I had a 40. That was a 440. That would be a big mistake on my part. So let me go up here to 40. right up top of it, and retype in 440 and press enter. Make sure your numbers are correct. That would have been a big no-no if I wouldn't have noticed that. Okay, now, what is the equation of the best line of fit? So we're going to press stat, calculate number 4. To get the list, we press stat enter. Stat enter. But to get best line of fit, you do stat calculate number 4. So we're going to go stat right here, over to calculate right there, and then we went number 4. Now mine are in list 1 and list 2. Some of you actually have to type in second 1 commas right there and then second 2, but most of us will have this on our calculator. So go down to calculate and press enter, and your best line of fit should be on there. So now your best line of fit, it says A and B. A and B is your slope. A is your slope, and B is your y-intercept. So you have to get them in. Let's go like to tenths. So it's going to be 6.4x plus 132.95. Now 0.95, the 5 rounds to 9 to a 0, and that rounds out to 33. So I'm going to say it's 133. That's your best line of fit. We did word problems, but I'll be with you in a second. B, find and interpret the correlation coefficient. So you should have an R on your calculator right now. That's R, so it's 0.995. Make sure you do not round that up. R is 0.995, and that is a positive, I'll be with you in a second, positive, strong correlation. So you need to write that. What is the predicted calories burned for 1.5 hours on the treadmill? What is the predicted calories? So we're going to plug 1.5 in for time. Now was time, what was time in? It'd been nice if they said what the time was in. I assume this time is in minutes because I don't think anyone's going to be on the treadmill for 52 hours. So my guess is this is in minutes. So how many minutes is 1.5 hours? 90 minutes is what you want to plug in. So what we do to do that is you could just plug in 90 to X right here. Plug 90 in right there and just figure that out. Like if you did 6.4 times 90 plus 133. 90 is 90 minutes. And then figure out that answer. Or you can press second window. Oh wait, we got to put this equation in. Sorry guys. Let's type it in. 6.4x plus 130. I want the y equals and I'm putting this in. Okay. And now we're going to press second window. We're going to set up our t-table. And it says to predict 90 minutes. So put in 90 right here, table start. And then press second graph to see it. So your answer is 709 calories is how many you would burn. And that makes sense. If you don't like it like that, just punch it into the original. Punch in, clear this out. You could press in 6.4 times 90, like I'm doing that right there, plus 133, and you get 709 this way. Make sure you write calories because that's what you're solving for. All right, guys, I'm going to throw out the review to you guys right now. You're going to work in it in groups. I'm finishing up the video right now, and it'll be online here in about 5-10 minutes. Then you can watch the video, but I'm also going to be live going over it. I'll have answer keys laying around the room. You guys can come up and check answers if you don't want to watch the video. I will have a video and the answers posted here shortly. So, yeah. You need to sit with a group. I want your headphones off unless you're watching the video. If you're in a group, then help your group. My last class was awesome. They were helping each other. Like some of them were doing this with a big whiteboard in the middle. They would put their paper on top of the whiteboard. If they needed to show someone, they were showing with marker. Okay? If you do that, and I see that, I sometimes will give you bonus points on your test because you're helpful. Okay? So if you can help people in your group, I reward you for that. Okay? Because I'm just me. I can't help everybody individually, but you can help the neighbor that's sitting right next to you. Brandon, if I see that, I'm going to take it, and you will not get it till the end of the day. If I see you guys watching football, I will take your device, and you will not get it till the end of the day. And I will give it to your coach. Let him know that obviously you think football is more important than academics, which is actually not true. And your football coach doesn't believe in that either. He believes in academics first. All right, give me like 5 minutes and the video will be done and then I'll be helping you guys live. If you were absent Friday, I'll see you here in 5 minutes. All right, so the average yearly earnings for high school graduates age 18 and older is given by this linear function. So this one, really, there's no work to be done. So you have this equation right here. It says X is the number of years. So X is number of years since 1996 that a person graduated. So Y represents the yearly earnings. So Y represents yearly earnings. So someone did a study that says if you graduate, what your average yearly earnings will be. Okay, so this is for people that don't go to college, but it is for people who graduate college. So find the average earnings for high school graduates in the year 2005. Okay, so we're going to write this formula. Here's your formula. Let's say 20. This is 21,000, not point. Okay. So since 2005. So X represents years since 1996. How many years are there from 1996 to 2005? Do the math. Think about it. Well, it takes 4 years to get to 2000, and then another 5 to get to 2005. So this X should be 9 years. There's 9 years from 1996 to 2005. So you're going to let X equal 9 in this problem. So you're going to go 732 times 9 plus 21,428. So it's 732 times 9 years plus the 21,428. So that means in 2005, 9 years after you graduate, the average salary for a high school graduate is about $28,000 a year. Okay, that's not a whole lot actually. After 9 years, that's why they tell you to go to college, because a college graduate, that number is going to be about 65,000, maybe 70,000. Predict the first year that the average earnings for high school graduates will be greater than 30,000. So we're going to take our 732x plus 21,428. When will it be greater than 30,000? So we know that in 9 years, it's still not greater than 30. So your answer's got to be bigger than 9 because you've only reached 28,000 in 9 years. When will you reach 30,000? So you set up the expression 732x plus 21,000 right from your problem up here and set it greater than 30. So we're going to subtract 21,428 because we're solving. 732x is greater than, now on our calculator, I take 30,000 minus 21,428, and you get 8,572, which I put right there. Now to solve for x, we're going to divide by our slope, 732. Divide by 732. And you get x has to be greater than 11.7. And what were we solving for? Predict the first year. So the first year, it has to be greater than 11.7. So I would round that up to 12 years. So the first year that you would be making over 30,000 would be 12 years since 1996. So 1996 plus 12 years. Well, it takes 4 years to get to 2,000. So it should be year 2008. In year 2008, or 12 years, it would take you that many years to make over $30,000. Now, find and interpret the slope of this equation. So find x. There's x. You see x? That means the slope is the number in front of it. So the slope is 732. Interpret what the slope means. Remember, what does x mean? X means number of years. So basically, for each year, for every year after 1996, you will earn an additional $732 a year. So that's kind of like people call it those raises, promotions. So every year you go in and meet with your boss, they go, you've been a great employee, we're going to give you $732 bonus every year after this. So that means you're making $732 more than you were the year before. Now, what does the y-intercept mean? Y-intercept is 21,428. This is the average money, average dollars that a high school graduate makes upon graduation. Like when you get a job right after graduation, you're going to start out about $21,428. Now, to high school graduates, that seems like a lot, but the average of college graduates is $62,000 a year, $50,000 to $62,000 a year. So quite a bit more to go to college. It costs money to go to college, but you make up for it in about 4 years, and then the rest of your life. There's that problem. And then we have another problem. Southern Star Realty is an established real estate company that has enjoyed constant growth in sales since 1995. So in 1997, the company sold 200 houses, and in 2002, the company sold 275 houses. Let X be the number of years since 1995. So this one is kind of like, if you go back to, where were they? Probably like 18. Remember how you had two order pairs, and you had to find the slope? In the white, then you have to do this. We have to do that in this problem. That's a word problem. So you're going to set up two order pairs. When you do ordered pairs, you always do year and then like houses. Year and houses. So the year, the first one, 1997. How many years is that since 1995? So do not use 1997 in your order pair. So 1997 since 95 is 2. And then you sold 200 houses. So that's your first order pair. Second order pair is 2002, 275. How many years is 2002 from 1995? From 1995 to 2002 is 7 years. And they sold 275,000 houses. So those are your two order pairs. Okay? They want us to write a linear equation. So first we have to find our slope. So you're going to take 275 minus 200 over 7 minus 2. Which is 75 over 5, which is 15. That's your slope. So that means that you're selling about 15. There's about 15 more houses a year are being sold. Now to write that in point slope form, here's your point slope formula. Pick an order pair. I'll pick 2 and 200. You're going to go y minus 200 equals your slope 15. Times x minus 2. Distribute. Add 200. Divide by 15. And whatever 170 divided by 15 is is 11.3. We'll just go with 11.3. So we're going to go y equals x, 15x, sorry guys, we're not dividing by 15. Wait, what am I doing here? Okay, wait a minute, let's go back to this. I am not dividing by 15. Sorry about that. This is your answer. I don't know why I was dividing by 15. It's y equals 15x plus 170. I don't know why I was trying to divide by 15. So find the number of houses that the company will sell in the year 2011. How many years are there from 1995 to 2011? Well, to get to 2000, it's 5 years. Plus to 2011 is another 11. So 16 years. So you're going to let x equal 16. So in our equation, we have y equals 15 times 16, which is the one where we just figured out, plus 170. I'm writing this equation right here, right next to it, but we're plugging 16 in. So now this is what you want to plug in your calculator. 15 times 16 plus 170 equals 410. So there will be about, this company is going to sell about 410 houses in 2011. So you want to write that. This company will sell 410 houses in 2011. Find and interpret the slope. The slope is 15. So this company sells about 15 additional houses each year. I don't know. Have you done any of your review yet? Let me see. If you have, you can go.